Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are literally unraveling one of the absolute grandest mysteries of existence. And we're doing it by colliding two totally different worlds together. On one side, we've got the ultra-precise mathematical language of quantum physics, and on the other, the sweeping, profound insights of Eastern philosophy. It's going to be a fascinating journey.
Okay, let's dive into this. Think about this for a second. What is the exact difference between a stone and a cell? I mean, at a fundamental level, they're made of the exact same stuff, right? Atoms, electrons, quarks, the whole shebang. Yet one is just dead matter, sitting there completely at the mercy of its environment, while the other is living matter. It actively pushes back, it repairs itself, it actually reproduces. So the ultimate mystery is living matter fundamentally different from dead matter?
Section 1. The Mystery of Life, featuring our first guide, Erwin Schrödinger.
Now, you probably know Schrödinger for his famous theoretical cat in a box. But back in 1943, this brilliant founder of quantum mechanics actually stepped way outside his lane. He gave a series of public lectures in Dublin exploring the very nature of life, which he then published in 1944 as this slim but totally revolutionary little book called What is Life? And get this, it went on to inspire an entire generation of molecular biologists, including heavyweights like Crick, Watson, and Wilkins, the folks who'd eventually discover the structure of DNA. But really, the craziest part of this whole timeline is that one of the greatest masters of modern physics had to accidentally kickstart the molecular study of life by admitting that physics, at least as he knew it, just couldn't fully explain what happens inside a living cell.
Moving right along to Section 2, A Physicist's Dilemma, and the incredible order found in living matter.
So Schrödinger had this truly radical yet simple intuition. He realized that living matter actively fights against entropy. It behaves with this crazy level of orderliness that literally breaks the standard statistical laws of physics. Like, dead matter behaves predictably in large numbers, but it's totally chaotic at the atomic level. Living matter, on the other hand, is incredibly ordered microscopically. And what's really interesting about this slide is how he conceptualized this by contrasting two structures. Over on the left, you've got a periodic crystal, kind of like quartz. It's highly ordered, sure, but it's repetitive and honestly, a bit mathematically dull. But on the right, the aperiodic crystal. This is how he described the chromosome. It doesn't just endlessly repeat, it actually holds a coherent, deeply meaningful design within the arrangement of its atoms. It's essentially an incredibly complex code.
All of this led Schrödinger to make just a stunning statement. He wrote, "From all we have learned about the structure of living matter, we must be prepared to find it working in a manner that cannot be reduced to the ordinary laws of physics." Just take a second to think about the gravity of that coming from a Nobel-winning physicist. And look, he wasn't invoking magic here or suggesting there's some ghost in the machine. He was making a very strict epistemological point. Life seems to operate on this super-physical level, an order of organization that our current physics simply couldn't measure yet.
Which brings us to Section 3, Matter as Sleeping Spirit. Get ready for a major paradigm shift here.
Because it is exactly at the scientific cliffhanger, right where the most rigorous science of matter has to hit pause, that we transition to the sweeping integral philosophy of Sri Aurobindo. To really grasp his view, we have to look at the old dichotomy first. For centuries, we've basically been stuck in this intellectual tug-of-war. Materialists argue that absolutely everything emerges from dead matter. But then older spiritualist schools argue the total opposite, that matter is just an illusion, or maya, and life is merely a transient ripple. Well, Aurobindo's framework completely dissolves this age-old fight between Eastern asceticism and Western science. He says both sides are partially right, but they're ultimately missing the synthesis. They aren't two separate substances constantly at war. They're actually two phases of one single reality.
This brings us to a really crucial definition, Satchidananda. Aurobindo uses this beautiful term to describe pure existence, consciousness, bliss that has been tightly compressed into what only seems like unconsciousness. He viewed matter not as some kind of cosmic mistake or a fall from grace, but actually as the infinite intentionally forgetting itself. And why? So it can embark on this grand, epic journey of rediscovering itself through finite forms.
Sri Aurobindo famously wrote that the atom is consciousness sleeping. And wow, this deeply profound quote just perfectly bridges our two thinkers today. Remember Schrödinger's aperiodic crystal? He saw an atomic structure that was way too ordered and meaningful to just be some statistical accident. Aurobindo provides the ultimate philosophical counterpart to that. The exact, beautiful, mathematical behavior of particles isn't just dead machinery. It is simply the outer choreography of a sleeping consciousness.
That takes us into Section 4, Life, the First Awakening. The spirit starts to stir.
So, If matter is spirit totally asleep, then life is spirit finally waking up. When you see a leaf physically turning toward the sun, or a tiny cellular membrane repairing itself, Aurobindo argues we aren't just looking at a lucky chemical accident. We are actually witnessing a consciousness responding to its own depths. He identifies this stirring with the ancient concept of prana. Think of prana as a vital force that acts as the essential bridge between merely physical energy and the fully conscious mind. This right here is exactly how the universe transforms from a closed, dead mechanism into a beautifully active, unfolding journey.
So, the crucial point is what actually happens next. Life introduces three entirely new, amazing powers into the rigidity of matter: desire, sensation, and growth. I mean, a stone is perfectly content just to be. It sits there forever. But a cell actually desires to remain. An animal actively wishes to flourish. These three powers take a mere system of atoms and elevate it into a system that actually cares about its own continuity.
Which leads us to the grand continuity of evolution. Aurobindo insisted there are no unbridgeable gaps here. It's a continuous, flowing ladder. Step 1 is matter. That's the foundation where consciousness sleeps. Step 2 is life, the great awakening. Step 3 is mind, which is constantly seeking and questioning. And finally, step 4 is the supermind, the ultimate evolutionary horizon we're heading toward. I want you to think about this personally for a second. Your very desire right now to watch this explainer, to seek out knowledge and deeply understand these concepts, that is exactly the mind phase actively seeking out that next horizon, the supermind. You, literally you, are part of this evolutionary self-disclosure.
And finally, Section 5, 2 voices, 1 truth. As we approach our conclusion, we really start to see Aurobindo's grand synthesis come together. If matter is fundamentally divine, then the goal of life isn't to escape the physical body, but rather to transform and perfect matter itself. For him, the body isn't a prison, it's a temple currently being built. And this brilliantly illustrates a remarkable meeting at the boundary. Over on the left, representing European physics, we have Schrödinger, who pushes his discipline right to its absolute limit, pointing to laws way beyond our current grasp. And on the right, representing the Indian spiritual tradition, we have Aurobindo, who pushes past old illusions to reveal matter as sleeping consciousness. Despite coming from totally different worlds, both masters reach the exact same profound intuition about the magnificent reality of life.
So we're left with this. If matter is just consciousness sleeping, and life is its first awakening, and mind is its active seeking, what will the universe dream of next? It's a question that completely changes how you look at the world. Every single stone, every tiny cell, every person you meet isn't just some random collection of dust, but an active part of a single conscious adventure. Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer today. Keep questioning, keep learning, and absolutely keep waking up to the incredible universe around you.